Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone. I'm privileged and honored to introduce today's guest. She is an author, a renowned speaker, entrepreneur, and often called the connector. Her extensive network is proof that her passion lies in building relationships and working with women. As an accomplished entrepreneur, she is the CEO and founder of SmartFem Media Group, a full-service digital marketing and advertising company. With years of experience as a publicist, columnist, a radio and TV personality, and business consultant, she is now using her knowledge to make a significant difference for women, creating her own magazine and coaching platform that bridges the online and local community. Her book, Lead, Share, Empower, delivers her hard-earned wisdom into one inspiring read. Filled with powerful and practical advice, it encourages us to raise our standards and start new chapters in our life. As an expert and top sought-after speaker, she is a breath of fresh air, focusing on leadership, innovation, and change to drive business. Her inspirational stories and humor come from her personal experience of turning her online magazine into a full-service digital marketing and advertising company. Just as she does with her own team, she motivates and encourages audiences to think bigger and bolder about their own businesses and lives, prompting everyone to find their voice. She is fully authentic, sharing her ups and downs as well as her successes and failures, providing a fresh perspective on marketing, leadership, innovation, and customer service. She is known to walk her talk, imparting valuable information in a fun and entertaining way that leaves everyone wanting more. Welcome, Lea Woodford. So wonderful to have you on the platform.
Well, I'm glad it finally worked for us.
Yeah, I know. I say today the computers own us. You know, it's like if we think we run them, we're just kidding ourselves.
I know. Yesterday it was the phones, today it was Zoom, but hey, we're here.
We're here, yes, and let's keep our fingers and toes crossed and hope for the best, right? So you have a career full of amazing successes, but I was listening to your story and it's fascinating. Your path that led you to leading women in business and in life came from your daughter. So share that story with our audience.
Well, yes, it did. Out of the mouths of babes. I was a dating and relationship columnist and TV correspondent for years. And my daughter was a freshman at NAU, and she was in the rec room with a bunch of her dorm mates. And one of my dating segments came on, and then I got the phone call. Mom, you need to stop this. You're perpetuating the Cinderella syndrome. I'm married to the education you're providing, but most women I go to school with have no idea what they want to do, but they can describe every single second of their wedding day. So that conversation with her it's etched in my memory. I know it verbatim because I realized she was really ashamed of me, you know, and really called me out, if you will.
Okay.
Called me out as only our own children could, right?
I know.
So
wow.
I realized, and it's funny, right before COVID, I was having dinner with a client who flew in from Vegas. We were out to dinner on a Monday night, and we were in a fabulous wine bar restaurant, and all of a sudden the televisions got really loud. And so I called the waiter over. I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Oh, it's Monday night. All these women have reserved the restaurant for The Bachelor."
Boy.
And I'm just going, oh my God, I guess my work is not done yet. I still have a lot of work to do. So I realized that as long as women continue to make the man the plan, you know, my place at SmartFem, my work is not even close to being done.
Yes, well, we're grateful for women like you being out there to help us, show us a new path. But yeah, I'm sure many women are very grateful for your daughter, myself included, because you are just a wonder, and I love what you're doing. So tell us thank you. I know you just mentioned that a man is not a plan, so I just wanted to reiterate that, and you just put that in there, did that wisdom come from within, or was that something that had been percolating over the years?
Oh, I've heard that for years from my
Oh,
grandmother.
oh,
And I used to say it as a dating and relationship columnist. A man's not a plan. Be the very best version of you. You know, get your financial resources in order, get your life in order, and then you'll attract the perfect person.
right.
So I said it during dating, but it's something my grandmother always said.
Oh,
That,
really?
yeah. Well, she was the very first female valedictorian of her class. She was divorced in the 40s and raising 3 little boys by herself with no child support, I might add. So she was really way ahead of her time.
She was a real trailblazer, for
And she
sure.
created medical billing and worked for the same doctor for doctor's family, because it was 3 generations of family doctors. So she was really probably one of the smartest, coolest women I ever met.
Oh,
And
wow.
I just happened to be, raised by her occasionally.
Yeah, no, that I can see now where you get your background. It really does. Our roots really do count, when you later on in life. So tell us what you mean by thinking bigger and bolder with our business and with our lives, because I love that statement, but often we're like, okay, what does that mean?
Well, I think you can see it right now in COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's rushing to do a podcast. Oh my God, there's a million podcasters now. I say whatever everybody's doing, do the complete opposite. If they're running this way, I want to see you run the other way. I think that we need to get away from the pack mentality, and I like trailblazers. I always have. So I want to see people that are blazing their own trail and not following somebody else's path.
Yeah, thinking outside of the box. And I like to say thinking without a box.
Right. There is no box.
There is no box. We create the box.
We do.
Yeah, we really do. So with your extensive business experience, you teach women that personal branding is about intentionally influencing how people see you. And today we have every opportunity to level that playing field. Expand on that for us.
It's great, because it used to be that only the very wealthy people could afford $10,000 a month in SEO, but Google and Facebook have both leveled that, because now everybody has a platform, everybody has a voice, and depending on how you position yourself, personally brand yourself, you have an opportunity to compete with some of the bigger companies with big budgets.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of how you position yourself in the marketplace.
And so when you position yourself in the marketplace, is that sort of a whole course that you walk people through? Because I know branding is a really big thing, especially for entrepreneurs and people who own their own businesses.
It's true. It is true. And it's funny, because you can definitely tell the difference between a small business person and a coach and a big brand company. Some of the smaller entrepreneurs try to throw everything in there. They everything's too busy and overdone. And when you work with professionals, they understand less is more. Coco Chanel always said it really brilliantly: less is more. One signature piece is better than all the accessories in the world. Then it's overdone.
That's a great takeaway. Less is more, and one signature piece is better than the potluck, basically.
Absolutely. Throwing everything in there but the kitchen sink, because it creates more brand confusion.
Oh, you're right. And when a consumer is confused, they do nothing.
That's it.
They walk away. That's great advice. So tell us what your inspiration was for SmartFem magazine and the vision that you have going forward.
Well, I have been an entrepreneur for many, many years, but I started out in sales. And really what I've learned is that entrepreneur and sales are the same thing. If you can sell, be a salesperson, and you're relying on your commission, then you really have the heart of an entrepreneur. And I know it's the cool thing to be an entrepreneur, but really you have to learn how to build a business, and you have to put the infrastructure. And really, business is, people really overthink it. Business is simply a promise that you keep.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people miss that.
And so do you see any changes for SmartFem in the future, or you right now you're just moving forward with that platform the way it is?
You know, it's always going to change. What we deliver will always remain the same: integrity and great content. The way we would deliver it, you know, will change, because marketing is a moving target. Let's face it, the minute you figure it out, they're going to change it again.
Yeah.
So yes and no. Yes, the way we deliver it will change as technology does, but the tangibles and the takeaways and the integrity is unwavering.
Yes, I love that. And I like that you said marketing is a moving target, because you're right, it is, but I've never heard it put that way. So I think that's a great take. I like these takeaways because I like to give tidbits of information that people can remember. So what 5 strategies does it take to become an entrepreneur? We had a discussion earlier and you gave me some great strategies.
I'm just going to say you have to have clarity. And what that means is you have to know who you are, who you serve, how you serve, what problems you solve. And then you really have to be firmly committed to keeping those promises.
Mm-hmm. And you said to pay attention to the road. I love that.
Yeah, because it's people want to move when they know something, they're certain of something. We all love certainty. Mm-hmm. Yes, wouldn't it be great if everything came back with a money back guarantee? And it should, if you're good. Yeah. But it's
for that plan.
It's like driving down the road at night. That's what being an entrepreneur is. You can't see the entire road, but as the farther you move down the road, the more the road is lit up and you can see your way. And, you know, I liken it to that, because you're not going to know where you're going until you take action. And yeah, then if you're paying attention to the road, it's just like, oh my goodness, I just missed my turn off. Okay, I've got to go down to the next one. And that's really what entrepreneurism is. It's taking action and assessing the situation and making course corrections when they're necessary.
Right. And the course I love that. The course correction. I know you said that failure, it's not failure, it's course correction.
Always.
Yeah, always. And get comfortable with problem solving, which is something that I know most of us don't want to face, but let's face it, if we're the boss, we've got to be comfortable with it.
You do, and realize that that's really what entrepreneurism is. People are paying you to solve their problems.
Exactly. So when we talked about success and the measure of it, you said to me that money is a metric, and I've never heard it put that way, but it really resonated with me, and it's not the whole of success. So how do you find and measure success?
It really is kind of funny. Yeah, people think that money is the holy grail, and I've got to tell you, working with my husband in his jet charter company, I meet incredibly wealthy people that are miserable. And to me, success is really loving what you do and really creating a residual income. So yes, you make money, but you're enjoying the process. If you're waking up and you're hating every second of going to work, or you don't like what you do, that's not success. And money, yes, makes you more comfortable, but it doesn't create more happiness.
Right. And you are a big advocate for women now, and you say that we can use our brand to influence, propel, and inspire and educate women. So just unpack that a little. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, but using our brand to do those things, that's very interesting.
Well, it's funny because I work with a lot of women, and having been in the corporate world for so long, there wasn't a lot of women at the top. And the ones that were at the top weren't sending the ladder back down. And I'm a postmodern feminist. while I'm propelling women, I still love men. I don't bash them. I'm married to one, I raised two, and I invite men to my stage, in our magazine and on our shows, because there is no pink team, there is no blue team. We kind of need to work together. But men, I think, really are great at sending the ladder back down. Women really traditionally haven't been, but I think that's because there's so few women at the top, and we just really need to change that. The other thing that women need to do is we need to stop seeing each other as competition and start seeing each other as collaborators.
Absolutely. That is a big plus, definitely. What 3 strategies can you give us to help us instill loyalty in a business? So if you have a customer, you want them to come back, and what 3 strategies do you have that you can recommend for that?
You know what? Show up. 90% of everything is showing up. And I'm seeing a lot of people that are disappearing. Now that COVID's here, are you on the phone call with them? Are you talking to them? And are you really creating strategies for them? Because really, if you're transactional versus relational, you're never going to maintain that client. I don't like to be on the hamster wheel. I want residual clients. I've had Lexus with me since I started my company, almost 11 years. The way you keep clients is you continue to be innovative, and you show up, and when there's a problem, you tell them. I had a problem with Jeep. I really wanted to transition to television, and I couldn't. I had to go back to them and say, here's what's going on. Let's go back to magazine advertising. And they said, no, we want to keep it here. We trust you. And I did figure it out. But when you can be honest, when I love this, when you fail or something doesn't go the way you want, if you can be honest with that client and tell them and not have them find out, I think it builds more trust.
Yes, it does. And that's interesting, because a lot of us are afraid that if we tell them that'll be the end. But in fact,
I think it'll be the end if you don't tell them.
I know. That's what I was just going to say. But it's a lesson that we need to learn. And it's one that needs to be taught, because you're right, it's fear. The underlying is, I'm going to lose this client. But if they find out the back doorway, then you're going to lose them the worst way, which means that you'll probably never get a referral, and they'll just bat out with you. So yeah, being honest is.
And I think people want to do business with people. And if you really come to them and say, hey, this isn't working, can we talk about a new strategy? And you're really honest and forthright with them, that breeds trust. It takes down their defenses, and they're going to stay with you.
Yeah.
And right now, during this COVID, the more innovative you can be, and the more that you could show up for your customer, they're going to remember you. And the more you shy away and the more you disappear, that they'll remember that too. So now's a good time to be very proactive with your clients.
Very, very proactive. Yes, I agree. And you teach individuals how to become sought after speakers as well on stage, which I think is an incredible gift that you can give people. You speak about earning the right to be there on stage. So tell us about that business philosophy, because I really love that you hold people up to your standards. In other words, you don't put up with, this is crap that you're sending me, and you got to go back and do your homework. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I vet everyone that's on my stage, and I don't pay them. I don't pay them, but they make more money because they create the most amazing value and content for my audience. Mm-hmm. So they make more by speaking at my event versus me, paying them 10 grand to show up, because they're getting clients. And that's why people want to be on my stage. And then the audience loves it because nobody's allowed to pitch.
Yeah.
So it really is about having crystal clear clarity, and knowing who the audience is, and giving them exactly what they want and what they need. And that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, and that's preparing. Like you said, you have to do your homework. give me something that looks decent. Because I was reading your Facebook posts, and you were saying, come on, get some good lighting. If your background is black, and you have a black top on, nobody's going to see you. Like, just use your common sense. Don't send me things that are going to waste my time, right?
Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
I'm partnered with a bunch of event planners. I have an event planner on staff. I mean, we have 2 big hangars, and we do events. We hire speakers, not only for my event, but for other events. And if you don't have a great message that's going to resonate with the audience, I'm not going to hire you. And then if you can't invest in having appropriate lighting, great messaging, that tells me who you are, who you serve, how you serve, and why people want to listen to you. And I want to see some audience engagement, because we've all seen those speakers where it's just a snooze zone.
No, I know. But you see, all those points are they serve anyone, even if you don't want to be a speaker. Because
whether you speak or not, if you have a business, you need to speak. You need to get your message out clear and concise, and you have to know who your target demographic is, and you have to be able to solve their problems and convey that in just a few sentences.
So know your elevator's pitch.
Absolutely. I don't like the word elevator, but especially right now. But really a market domination position statement.
Okay, I like that. Well, market domination
positioning statement.
There you go. We'll put it on the lower third. FemSmart is not your first business. You had a copier business that became very profitable very quickly, but you said that everyone needs to know when to quit. What 3 signs can you give us that it might be time to quit?
Okay, before I do that, I'm just going to say that was a really easy business because I was selling copiers. Okay. And really quick story, I think it would be easier for you to see, I sold copiers. I went to the refurbishing facility in California. I saw they were buying them for $300 and turning around and selling them for $3,000. I simply decided to quit, do that myself out of my garage for a month, and until I could find the right place with a showroom, a bay, and an office. And I did it for a while. We were very successful. And they were selling them for $3,000. I was selling them for $1,500 just using the Sunday classifieds. So we were profitable from day one. But within 8 months, it was Price Club. Now it's Costco. They started selling personal copiers in Costco. It was then Price Club. Then I knew it was a game changer. And it was time to sell the business, so I sold it. So again, if you're paying attention as you drive down the road of your business and you're seeing the signs, you have to pay attention, because some businesses will last a lifetime and some of them won't. And you have to be prepared to make the pivot, sell, change, and start something new. Or like digital marketing, that'll always be around, but the way we do it may change.
Right. So look for the signs. I like that, on the road, and be prepared. As an entrepreneur of a smaller company, we're able to pivot quickly.
That's one of the beautiful things about having a small company. I mean, we're seeing it now. Look at the airlines. Mm-hmm. The airlines have lost millions and millions of dollars. And because it's such a big ship they're trying to turn around. If you're a small business owner, you can change on a dime.
Yes.
And that gives us great positioning power if we can pivot really fast.
Exactly. Take advantage of the opportunity when it's there. Absolutely. So there are a lot of coaches recommending budding entrepreneurs or even businesses to look for the gap. How do we identify the gap in an industry?
You got to start with, again, you got to look for where your passion, where your purpose, and where your skill set intersect. You got to start there first. Mm-hmm. And once you know those things, then you start looking for your target demographic, and then you start looking for the gaps. But, you know, if you're just a coach, what kind of coach are you? You know, are you a speaker coach? Are you a writing coach? Do you work with small businesses? You know, the riches are in the niches. You've got to niche down first before you really, you know, decide to spend your money on branding and everything, because you're going to have to go back if you haven't done the deep dive up front.
Right, right. I love that. The riches are in the niches. You've got great sayings. I love your quotes. What 3 skills will up-level a woman's business potential?
Again, clarity. I would say, again, go after the bigger fish. You know, the effort's going to be the same. You know, why not go after those 6-figure women? Why not dominate in one sector? I would rather charge more and work with fewer clients than work with the masses for a really small budget.
So don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid
to step in the arena.
You know, just make sure that you've done your work and that you can solve their problems. That's the only thing.
Exactly. Right.
Do your homework first and then step into the bigger arena.
Right. Exactly. Well, it's like anything, practice, right? If you think of a boxing, I mean, you can't step into the ring unless you've practiced.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So overthinking, you said, can be toxic in our life and business. And you said that the indecisions will kill you faster than a bad decision. What advice do you have for someone with chronic overthinking habits? Because I know a couple that are like that. And I'm sure you've met some too.
Well, think about it this way. How many people do you know are gonna start something and they're waiting for the perfect time? Guess what? There is never a perfect time. And I hear this all the time. If I only had the time, guess what? Now you have the time. Just start. You know, start doing the research, but quit. Give yourself a timeline. I'm gonna research this for 30 days, and then I'm starting my business. But you have to really we have to give ourselves a timeline and a start and a stop date, and you have to launch. You have to launch. That's the other.
Yeah, you have to launch. I know the feeling. Yeah. And how important is mindset? I know I've heard a lot about mindset, but your mindset can be your best friend or your worst enemy.
It really can. It really can. Success or defeat all happens in your head. So if your head's not in the game, I would really work on getting your headspace right before you even start, because it's not worth it if your head's not going to be in the game and the mindset's not right.
Do you have any secrets to the negative speak that often pops up? Do you do personally anything, or do you may not even have negative speak, but you might have at one point?
We all have it.
Okay.
You know what? I turn off the TV because the news is crazy right now, and even Facebook, you know, and now it's starting to show up on LinkedIn. I love music. It's a great way to shift your mindset. But I really always, every day, practice gratitude. I focus on the blessings in my life, and God has given me many. And I shut off the news. You know, yes, I want to stay informed. I watch what I need. I shut it off. And I focus on the people that are making a difference and really have something great to share that's inspiring, educational, and powerful.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Sometimes it's time to unplug.
You have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what is your definition of success?
It really means to me that I can wake up every day. I love what I do. I love the people that I work with. And that at the end of the day, I know that I did everything possible for my clients. And then lastly, you know, it's represented well in my bank account.
Okay.
I don't want to stress about money. I don't want to stress about money. So I feel like you have to create something that actually has proof of concept. I don't believe in fluff. I just don't. You know, I'm a no fluff zone. If you can't bring it, I don't want to hear it.
Right, right. So now I'm curious, and I really love the title of your book, Lead, share, empower. Maybe give our audience a little insight into the book.
Sure. This was a really difficult time for me when I wrote that book. It was a time I had, my ex-husband had just gone through a motorcycle accident. He was in a coma for 31 days, and it was 16 months of rehab, every type of rehab. I mean, this was the guy who had to learn how to brush his teeth, didn't know he thought we were in Florida, had to learn how to walk, had to learn how to talk, and he was a captain for Southwest Airlines, so he flew people. And so he had to learn everything all over again. So of course I put my business on hold. And then after that, it took 10 neurosurgeons to get him back in the air. So I had to put my business on hold for 16 months. And that was SmartFem. I was just starting SmartFem out. It went on hold because it was 4 types of rehab every single day. Wow. And then after we got him in the air, 10 neurosurgeons signed off on him. I was stricken with a rare form of skin cancer, and they took the entire side of my face off in 2011. It was 12 surgeons working on me, putting me back together over 5 surgeries. And after my 3rd surgery, my husband filed for divorce. So, and because we'd only been married 8 years, I'd always been self-supporting, and we had no children. Of course, I got nothing from that. So I didn't recognize myself anymore. My face was gone. I didn't have an income. And my entire identity was gone. And I had to really recreate myself. And it was my business partner, Paul, who flew me out to New York and said, we're going to focus on SmartFem. We're going to get this off the ground, because I have a 13-year-old whose mother is telling her that the man's the plan. So within 10 days, we created SmartFem, and we were profitable from day one. Wow. You know, it wasn't big profits, but it was enough for us to, to sustain ourselves. And eventually we bought a house, and, we actually recreated everything. And he was at ground zero too, because he lost everything in his divorce. And he was building SmartFem, in New York remotely. And so he says, we got to make this work, because I've lost everything. Right. And, and she's teaching these principles to my daughter. And it's funny because after their divorce, finally, I mean, it was a long year in New York. New York lawyers got everything, and he walked away with nothing. Oh, boy. And finally, after the years, I think it was like 4 years of going through back and forth and losing everything, the kids came to live with us. And she was 18 years old. I taught her how to drive. I gave her first job. I wrote a couple letter recommendations, and we fought. I'm just going to say, she didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to go to school. She wasn't motivated. She was your typical angry teen. But fast forward, she just graduated with a 4.3 in engineering. Wow. So she's my bonus girl, and she's my girl. But you have to have those tough conversations, I could see her. I could see past that rough, angry teenage facade, that she was brilliant and just like her father. And, now she's moved to Spokane for her first big job. And they gave her a really, $75,000 brand new, starting. So I'm so proud of her. But she started with SmartFem.
Yeah, well, I know you like to call yourself or see yourself as a fairy godmother.
I do.
So just unwrap that a little bit, because I know you're all heart. You really are. You're heart, but you're also, you don't put up with any crap. Heart.
I think that's what a good fairy godmother does, though. I think I love seeing these young women and young men too, create their, their dream jobs. But I think everybody talks about the entitled millennial. You know what? I'm just going to say this. Some of the hardest working ones that we've had have been, immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
They really didn't have everything given to them. They worked their butt off. I mean, our very first one, Katie Grimmer, I remember writing her letter of recommendation. They all want to go to New York. And she got a full ride scholarship to NYU based on her writings on SmartFem. Wrote another letter, then she was at Town and Country. And then Stacia comes to us. She's cute. She's just this cute little snack pack. I only want to write about fashion. It's like, well, honey, we're a postmodern feminist magazine. You're going to have to learn a little bit about that. She loved it so much, she changed her thesis, and now she's in New York at Red Book, and she writes about feminism. Elizabeth Leone, oh my God, I love her. She was a single mom at 19, the only one of 4 kids to graduate. Her mother was an illegal. And I remember her sophomore year in college coming saying she was going to have to quit because her mom had been deported and she didn't have anybody to watch her little girl, and she was really overwhelmed. And I remember telling her, stick with it, work from home. I'm not going to let you go. And she graduated, the only one not only to graduate from high school, but from college. I wrote, she wanted to do PR, and I said, no, you don't. But I sent her to one of the largest PR firms, and she calls me and she goes, I hate this. And I said, I know you would, come back. So she came back. Then she wanted to do the nonprofit things. So I sent her over to one of the nonprofits. She goes, well, I can't make any money at this. And I said, well, what do you really want to do? She goes, I want to do what you do. I want to be an entrepreneur, but I want to write for SmartFem. So she's writing for SmartFem, but now she's an Instagram influencer, fashion influencer, and she's got a whole online business on Instagram. And she's back. She said she's never leaving again, but I like it. Sometimes they come back. They're my kids. You know what?
Yeah.
I love them. Whatever I can do to support them, because they are our future.
Yeah, I love it. That's why I say you've got a big heart. You really do. So I don't even know if this question applies because you've just given me some incredible examples of challenges, but I had a question here is, what do you do to challenge yourself in life and business?
I do things that really scare me.
Ah, okay.
I declare things publicly before I'm ready to do it because it forces me to do it. I know that, that you shouldn't share your goals, it's bad, or tell your wishes. But I feel it's the opposite. If I declare it, then I kind of have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to film school in 2014. I was the oldest and slowest in the class. And trust me, I wanted to quit. Oh my God, these kids are born like this. And
I know.
like, oh my God, I am.
Technology is just like, no problem.
Well, I learned broadcasting 30 years ago in front of the camera. This is streaming behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And the technology's changed. The way we process everything's changed.
Yep.
22 of us started, 8 of us graduated, and only 2 of us have been able to monetize it.
Yeah, it's a difficult industry, but still, I mean, just to show that you stuck with it and you graduated, and carried it through. It just goes to show you that if you set your mind to something, you can do it, right? Doesn't matter.
I was the first one in class and the last one to leave,
Yeah.
But that's what it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. Some of the greatest business people that we have ever seen don't have a college education.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ford never got past an 8th grade education. So it really is a matter of going after what you want and not taking no for an answer.
Yep, absolutely. Now you have a really generous program that you're offering right now. I believe, actually, maybe there's a couple of them. One of them is the Academy. So maybe tell the audience a little bit about those.
I'm really proud of the SmartFem Entrepreneur Academy because this is one of the biggest challenges I've seen with speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs, and even small business owners. they're on the hamster wheel every
Mhm.
single month. They haven't figured out how to create residual income and multiple income streams. So what we've done is we've created an entire business structure around a book, believe it or not. We created a compilation book
Mm.
and a business plan and a marketing strategy completely around the book so that they actually do the deep dive, know who they are, who they serve, how they serve. And because they've done all that research and it's all right there, they can create their courses
Mm.
and, their keynotes, their even a big book on their own because they've done the research up front.
Right.
And we've done that. I've brought in some of the most amazing experts to help me with that. But then the other thing that we're doing is it's a membership program, and they get coaching twice a month for $297 for the entire, that's a lifetime membership for the first 100.
That's amazing.
That's my COVID recovery plan for people that are really struggling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that is spectacular. It's a great offer, and everybody needs to at least go and look at what it is all about, because to get that, and you're the you're the individual they'll connect with, right?
Mhm.
On the coaching. Oh my gosh, you that is so generous. So I will get the link up on our underneath your bio for those, because it's wonderful. Now,
Thank you.
absolutely, my pleasure. Is there anything that's not on your resume that you could tell us?
Anything that's not on my resume that be a little more specific. I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, what can you tell us that's not on your resume or your bio?
Work related or
Just anything.
um, just anything. Well, I'm just going to tell you that weird things happen sometimes, and if you don't follow the rules, but it can be a blessing in disguise. I mean, one of the things that I'm really most proud of is I wanted to qualify in 2007 for National Speakers Association, where you have to do, like, I don't even know how many talks, like 150 talks or
Whoa.
$25,000 in speaking engagements. And my speaker coach took me to NSA, and I had met these people who'd been going for 5 years and hadn't qualified. And I go, Debbie, I can't come here for 5 years, and not be a certified speaker. And she goes, oh no, you're going to do it in your first workshop. And I did. 6 weeks later, I held a workshop at a television station for $2,500. We sold it out, and I was working at Channel 12 at the time. My buddies, my camera crew came and filmed. We created product, and then I was on an 8-city tour after that. So
Wow.
I created everything on one workshop. And again, that's finding the gap. That was one of that I'm really good at finding where the holes are. And I've really known, my husband berates me for this because I have zero patience. It's a virtue, but it is not one of mine. And so I will find a quick workaround. How can I do this faster, better, smarter, for less money, and get it done and just put it out there? And that's what I did.
Yeah, well, good for you. That's the only way Lea would do it. I mean, I could see that. So now, just wrapping up, I have 4 questions to ask you that we ask of every speaker, and hopefully they won't stump you. They're supposed to be fun, but some people find it difficult. So my first question is, if your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
What would my title of my book be? Real Life Fairy Godmother.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Or the Fairy Godmother Diary.
Okay, either one is perfect. Absolutely. What name would you give your character in your epic story?
Lily.
I like it. And how would you characterize your epic life?
How would I, you know what? It really is the way it is right now. I love my life on so many levels. And being able to help young women and young men too, that really is, I can't even tell you how fulfilling that is. watching them go after their dreams and get it and share it with me is just, I get goosebumps every time.
I know. It's wonderful when you can lift other people up or even help them in any way. It really is. It's that whole gratitude, pay it forward. Yeah, it really, and I could see where it would resonate with you for sure. Now, if you had one superpower, epic superpower, what would it be and why?
I think I already have it. I'm a connector, and I believe that to be the very best version of yourself and to really have a life of meaning and purpose, you have to pay it forward, and you have to connect people and, again, foster collaboration versus competition.
Beautiful. I love it. So you'll find all that information at the end of the bio on Lea's picture. And I want to thank you, Lea, so much for coming on the show and sharing your powerful knowledge with us and insight and inspiration, and how we can all lead, share, and empower one another to take our life and our business to the next level. Lea and I would now love to hear from you. So go on over to my Facebook page and write a comment. Tell us what your epic takeaways were with this conversation. And remember, this is where you imagine, create, and build a life and business doing what you love. Until next time, I'm Jane Applegath, and you're watching the Epic Vision Zone.